Hello.
Hey, can you hear me?
Hey, yeah, I can hear you.
All right. Warning that there is a chance my graphic drivers shit themselves and my computer goes black because that happened in my last lesson. But,
Ooh,
in
exciting.
which case I have to restart.
Yeah, okay.
Also, if you have any ideas on how to fix that, let me know. But I
Wow.
don't know. I tried updating them once and it worked for a while. And I also have this theory that it only happens when I full screen things for extended periods of time.
Whoa.
Because I tried the lesson again without full screening and it never crashed.
Really? I was going to suggest, trying to reinstall, your latest drivers. Are there newer versions of the drivers?
I updated it like 2 weeks ago because of this, but I might
Ah,
just need to reinstall them. Maybe they got installed poorly. Who knows?
wow. Yeah, okay. That is super weird.
Yeah,
I
but
don't
the full
know.
screen thing is really weird, right?
It is really weird.
Yeah, I'm no
I've
expert.
I've had this weird issue recently where when I start watching specifically videos on Netflix or Crunchyroll, my computer freezes for about 2 seconds, but then it's okay.
That's
And
what, but
also,
only those.
but only those, and I have no problems doing other things like playing games on my computer.
That's
for
so weird.
example. Yeah, I have no idea.
Technology is a mystery.
Yeah,
But
it is a mystery.
I'm glad we're getting to talk finally.
Yep. What's not a
so-
mystery is Super Smash Bros. Melee, which we
Yeah, it's
can
not at all.
explore. Yeah,
We've got it figured out for the most part.
we've got it figured out for the most part. Yeah, that's
We're
right.
So what's been going on with you? I know last time we talked about Fox Dittos last time, and we talked about a bunch of things with regards to how to react well, how exactly to look at the screen, how to play confidently, where your issues lie.
Yeah. So that's something I've been thinking about a lot. Yeah, the most important thing I've been trying to do, I guess, is look at the screen more, in particular in scrambles or in scuffles or whatever you want to call them.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I mean, I haven't really been any big tournaments recently, so I haven't really been able to apply this stuff except in friendlies or whatever.
Yeah,
I do have another VOD from that same tournament we reviewed, me versus Hacks, where maybe they're going to be similar takeaways, but this is also a match I wanted to watch because I got kind of bodied, which was I played on stream against Bananas, actually.
Oh, okay. Well, this will be different because
Yes.
it's climbers.
This will be different because it's climbers. And I've always felt a little. We talked about this actually a while ago, which is that I tend to, I think, have a problem with having too many choices. It's like the menu's too big,
Yeah.
You go to the restaurant.
We talked about limiting.
Yes. So.
Well, actually, before we talk about ice climbers at all, I want to hear and then you can continue. But I want to hear do you feel like playing friendlies, any of these things have changed, or your perspective's been different, or even just watching VODs if you've been seeing it differently?
Yeah, I think. How do I put this? I think one of the big. Yeah, I think one of the big things I think I'm noticing or that I'm trying to do differently is that I think I'm a little bit better. Like if I start getting beaten in scuffles or like I'm getting hit when I'm in particular like in close range situations or whatever, I do find that I feel maybe it's placebo, I don't know, but I do find that I feel like I'm better at identifying like, wait a minute, these are that was something I shouldn't have done, or that was something that like when this situation comes up again, let me see if I can take a step back and react and see what's going on and respond differently.
Cool.
Instead of running the same flowchart that doesn't work, or
Yeah. I mean, I think that's the big step, and
at least that's what I'm trying to do.
If you ever feel like it's not really working, I mean, you might just have to sit down. Do you solo practice at all right now, or no?
A little bit. Although I will say not as often as I want to.
Okay. Well, is it once a week a little bit, or is it
more often than once a week?
Oh, okay.
More often than once a week. Yeah.
Okay.
I want to do it every day.
That's the goal.
Yeah, I've been going out a lot just randomly. I've been trying to get good at music games again, coincidentally.
Oh, hell yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, but I'm trying to practice at least 2 or 3 times a week.
Okay.
So
a big thing I have in mind here is that make sure that if you feel since you've played this game so much, you can probably implement a lot of things on the fly and just have them in mind, and that'll go great.
Right.
Like, I think Ginger is in a similar boat where it's like, hey, I've been playing for 9 or 10 years. I kind of get how the game works. Like, you guys can definitely do that. But
Right.
just, if you ever feel like you're struggling at all to do it, just immediately take it to practice. Even if it's something conceptual like reacting, like just set a 20xx CPU to like do a specific action, practice reacting the way you want, or in situations where you know that your options are like all over the place and you want to limit them a bit more, just do some shadow boxing or create a specific situation, get yourself to think about it. Because a lot of the times when players who've been playing for a long time and are pretty good haven't gotten like super good yet, a lot of the times it's just like you're too used to relying on your intuition, right?
Right.
Because it is so good, but it's like just take the things you can't do, make sure to practice them. Because otherwise it's like, in the last 2 lessons, we've talked about things that you could work on for 3 or 4 months,
Yeah.
Like, we're talking about some pretty big stuff. So it's like, if 6 months from now we're talking and you go back and watch the first lesson, you're like, damn, I'm actually only good at like a third of this, and the other 2/3 I could have just practiced. It's like, that's what we don't want.
Right.
Okay.
So
does that kind of make sense?
yeah, actually, I want to dig into that a little bit. So
Okay.
when you solo practice, or even when not necessarily when you solo practice, but when you advocate others to solo practice, like what does that kind of look like for you?
Okay, so there's 2 different things. One is we're trying to learn completely new concepts or ideas. So, for example, we take a situation where, like, I don't know if you're good at this, but a classic one for Foxman's upcoming is that they really suck at reacting to people's SDI on their drill. So they learn to not always shine, but they just do the same option every time.
Okay.
So, like, I had Shabo like practice drilling a computer and practice with the SDI modifier on and practice actively reacting, training his brain to look at it and then pick different drill options out of it,
Yeah, okay.
That might be a completely new thing for someone like Shabo. While for me, it's like I could just play some friendlies and pay a little more attention to it and I'd get better at it.
Yeah, okay. I see.
But, there's different scopes. But, for something else, it might be like, this player never sets a reaction point or doesn't consistently set reaction points when they wave dash. So I might recommend you go and literally practice wave dashing, and each time you input X or Y to wave dash. So Fox's everyone's wave dash roughly aligns with a reaction point. So with Fox, you would react like 1 or 2 frames before you wave dash. Does that make sense?
As in, I think I know what you mean.
Okay, so essentially your reaction time's about 15-ish frames, give or take.
And the wave dash is like,
take about 15-ish frames. So what you do is right when you're about to press the button or right when you press the button, that's when you should decide what you're going to do out of your wave dash. But most people decide a few frames before that, and that's how you get people wave dash up tilting with Fox or wave dash down tilting with Marth or whatever, or wave dash down smash with Luigi, when it's like, wait, when you wave dashed, you could have seen that they jumped and then not wasted your time doing that. So that's like a classic one that people are bad at. So I might recommend someone, I would tell them, okay, go do this, and I just want you to look at a standing still CPU while you do the input to train your eyes to be able to do that. Right? And then once you can do that, have the CPU move or make it a level 9 or whatever and simulate a real match. And then once you can do that every time, your eyes look at them every time, then you take it to friendlies and you do it. And you also combine that with VOD watching, where you watch VODs, and every time you watch someone wave dash, you look, you react, right?
Right.
So this is what solo practice looks like for people trying to learn new concepts.
I got you.
I'd say some amount of the things we've discussed, you should be practicing.
Yeah, okay.
What amount that is depends on you and your comfort level, and I think I trust you to make that judgment call, because you will surely be able to implement a ton of things a little more naturally than
I guess the only problem is that I've never really quite known how to do like the whole shadow boxing thing, and it sounds like a lot of the things that I need to do with regards to like
might be shadow.
Right. So what does that look like? So you gave me a concrete example there with regards to, like, for example,
the drill wave dash.
Right, but yeah, how might I go about this?
Okay, so let's talk about it a little more in depth. So first of all, I think there's a difference between needing to do like full-on shadow boxing sequences and just needing to practice like training your eyes to look at them, right?
Yeah.
But those are not exactly the same. So in the case of like the wave dash and looking at them, that is kind of like shadow boxing, but like maybe the first step is just literally train yourself to look at them.
Right, okay, like you said.
again, for someone who already has an intuitive concept of the game, you might not need to shadow box anymore. You might be able to just have that, and then when you play, because now you're looking at them, your intuition is good enough to come up with solutions.
Got it.
Does that make sense?
Yeah,
Now,
that does make sense.
if you do need to shadow box, I might suggest something like I would shadow box more so scenarios. So, like, for example, a common shadow box that I tell Sheik players to do is put a space animal on a platform and imagine the different ways you need to cut off their movements or attack them. Because 99% of Sheik players, when a space animal's on a platform, their brain breaks because it's really hard to look up and aim at them. And then when you watch they shadow box, they're like, wait, I wasn't actually aiming, or I didn't know which movements would hit platforms here and there. But I wouldn't recommend, you just go press buttons. I mean, maybe for a new player, I would recommend that because, like, they need to be in practice thinking about the game at a basic level. Like, oh, I dash danced, and now imagine him narrating at me,
Yeah.
And also in the era of 20XX, we don't need that as much because you can just create the exact situation you need.
Yeah, okay.
I think shadow boxing is now significantly less important because it's more about specific situations than relying on your like creativity or something. It's like, no, just make the fox narrate you and practice punishing it.
Yeah. Make Morth dash tag at you or something.
Yes, exactly. And it's like, once you're learning new techniques, it's like I might tell you, okay, practice a set of different offensive sequences. So I might say empty hop forward into dash back with Fox versus empty hop forward into narrate him versus empty hop forward and then wait. And I might tell you to, practice shadow boxing that by short hopping at them and then imagining when you would do each one, or what stimulus do you see that would make you think dash back is better versus actually going for the narrate him is better.
I see.
That kind of makes sense.
That does kind of make sense.
But that's the extent of the shadow boxing I would recommend because, like I said, mostly that's like something I would tell someone who, they don't know how to empty hop at someone and then check what's going on and play a mix up. Or it's someone who knows that but doesn't have it ingrained. And it's like, oh, you know about that, but for some reason you still do a bunch of bad nairs. So let's get you to ingrain actually doing it properly.
Yeah, okay.
You can ask a million Fox players, like, oh, how should you approach? And none of them will say, do bad nairs. They'll say, oh, you should wave dash in place or you should empty hop. And then you watch them play and they don't do that. Right? So that's where you go practice versus a computer and get yourself to do it and make sure it's associated with some stimulus you're seeing.
Yeah.
So it's not random. So that's kind of what I think about shadow boxing and stuff. Hopefully that makes sense.
That does make sense.
But that's not what solo practicing for me looks like at all.
What does it look like for you?
Okay, so here's the other side. So everything I'm talking about till now is you need to become a better player on like a conceptual level, right? These are things that, how do you improve reacting? How do you improve looking at the screen? How do you improve bad habits? How do you make sure that when you roll, you look at them instead of just holding shield or full hopping,
Yeah.
This is stuff to improve as a fighting game player, But for me, it's more about improving at just like melee specific stuff.
Okay.
So that's kind of probably what you more traditionally practice. It's like I'm practicing my combo game. I'm practicing movement patterns. I'm practicing stuff like that, right?
And is that just because you're pretty good at, like, if
I feel like all the stuff that I would need to get better at, I can already do intuitively in the game because I have the basis down already.
Yeah.
Like I don't need to practice, this specific reaction because if I know I'm not doing it, I can just fix it when I'm playing.
And you'll notice it while you're playing.
Well, if I don't notice it, if I know it's a problem, yes, I'll notice it. Of course, that brings into the picture, like, what if I don't even know I have this problem? Then it's like, I might watch my VOD one day and be like, oh shit, I didn't realize I sucked at that. Then yeah, I'll go practice it.
Yeah, got you.
But like, those are more rare relative to like, I need to, find new tech or like practice my, up throw combos, which I think is the hardest fucking thing in the world with Fox, stuff like that. So for me, I can tell you my solo practice regimen, it was a lot more like, I always broke it down into, so this is when I was full-time melee, so it's a little different. If I didn't play with people that day, I practiced for 3 hours. And about 2/3 of that time, I would specifically only grind things I already know how to do. And then 1 hour of that time, about a third of the time, I would only practice new ideas.
Yeah, okay.
So 2/3 of the time is literally spent, I could tell you, I practice up throw combos at every percent on every relevant character because I think that's one of the most important things for Fox to be able to do. I practice my wave shine combos on every character. I practice my tech chases off shine. I practice my up throw, my chain grabs. I practice my, and then in between all that, I insert like ledge dashes inside B shortens. Like I never So here's
Right.
another thing, like for something like that I'm already good at, I don't grind it. I just insert it in between. So, I took his stock with an up throw up air. I jump off stage, do a side B shorten, perfect ledge dash, and then that's all I needed.
Right. Just
And so,
enough to
like, I
kind
talked
of.
to Kalindy about this. Like, Kalindy's good at ledge dashing, and yet he would still practice ledge dashing for like 30 minutes of his practice. And I'm like, why are you wasting your time? Just
Right.
ledge dash in between. Like, you already know how to ledge dash, right?
Okay.
So that's a common thing people do wrong. But what I practice is stuff that I know I'll need to do.
Yeah.
Like, and it's so important that like I can't not practice it. This also includes aerial into dash, aerial into actions. I practice wave dash into actions.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
wave dash into dash is one of my most important things. I do that, and I kind of combine all these. Like, before, and this is where shadow boxing comes in. It's like I don't just set a recording and do 10 up throw up airs on Marth. If I already know how to do it, what I do is I do a movement sequence that I would do in a real match, which lets me practice the execution. It lets me practice shadow boxing, imagining, okay, I empty hop dash back. I imagine that he whipped the dash attack. Then I go in. Then I hit my up throw up air combo.
Grab Marth and then up throw up air. Yeah.
Yes. So now I'm practicing my combo. I'm practicing my execution on my empty hop dash back. And I'm practicing the shadow boxing and simulating in my head all at once.
Okay.
And I think that's what effective practice looks like.
Yeah, got you.
But let's say I don't know how to up throw up air Marth at 100 on FD on this DI. Then I set a recording, train that first, and now when I can do it, then I go back to the other thing. So then that's the last 1/3 of my practice session is new ideas that I think are worth implementing or new combos or new techniques. And then I'll just practice those. So for example, that might include up throw up airing Marth at 100, which I believe no Fox main can do consistently at the moment.
Up throw up air, who at 100?
Marth at 100, you specifically have to claw, and you have to do a specific dash timing.
Are we talking about when he full DIs or when he like?
Yeah, on full DI.
On full DI.
Like full DI behind you at 100, especially if you have port disadvantage. I guarantee you, if I set every Foxman in the world down and said true combo this, like the aliens would destroy you. We'd have no chance. There's literally zero.
Is this when he's out of the percent range where you can just full jump?
Yes, it's right outside of it.
Right outside. Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about. Yeah, that
because inside of it, it's easy. You just do dash, full jump, single hit.
Yeah.
But and then at 120, it gets a lot easier because there's more percent. But there's a 20% window where it's like fucking hard, especially if you have the wrong port. So I realized that was hard, and I didn't used to claw my up airs, and I 20xx'd it frame by frame. I was like, I have to do it like this. So I spent time practicing that.
Interesting.
I spent time practicing JC Shine combos because I thought they were important on Peach at one point. I spent time practicing, Wave Shine. So let's say Wave Shine out of shield is a new tech for you, but you think it's important. That would go in my new category, right?
Right.
And this is where like kind of the labbing comes in, the innovation. I'm like, here's a new combo, here's a new tech skill, here's a new movement pattern, and then So that's kind of how I split it up. It's like 2/3. I get all the shit I know perfect, so that I go to tournament and never ever mess it up. 1/3, I improve myself as a melee player.
Right.
But if you need to improve as like a more fundamental level with how you react, etc., that's a completely separate thing.
And that's when you start using the 20xx features.
You use 20xx. You think about, why am I not reacting? How do I train this? Why do I have a bad habit here? How do I even deal with this situation? What if it's just a situation you don't know how to deal with,
Yeah. I am like pretty, how do I say this? I'm pretty like out of touch with like practicing with 20xx bots. Like there's a lot I know I can do that I don't do right now.
Do you know how to do it?
No. Yes.
Okay.
No. Yes.
Okay.
No.
Do you know how to set a recording to make them do something? How about that?
I have to look it up.
Okay, that is the probably only feature that I think you really need.
You really need.
Yeah. If you can set them to do something specific, then you're good.
You do it off the little menu thingy.
Yeah. You do it off the menu. You like load do a save state. You set it to record. You load the save state. Like there's some stuff, but
I will make it a point to do that once today, and just to have it. You know what I mean?
Just to know how to do it. Yeah. And
is there a video? Is there a video showing me? You know what I mean?
How to do it? Has one.
Okay, that's the one I used last time. I was wondering if you had a. Okay.
I actually might have something better if you give me a second.
Okay. Because, not that there's anything wrong with Kalindy's.
No, Kalindy's is good, but it's long. I don't know if I did a lesson with Swedish where I specifically explained to him how to do all the 20xx stuff.
Okay.
But I think we didn't record it because I was like, there are already videos on this.
Okay, that's fine. Yeah, I'll just use Kalindi's.
Oh wait, no, I found it.
Oh
Oh
boy,
yeah, we thought ahead.
exciting.
I don't know whose idea it was to record, but I think someone insisted I record. Thank you to that person.
Yeah.
All right, so here you go. It's a little bit sloppy because we're
okay.
trying to screen share and talk about it, but we've summarized how to do it like 8 different times, and you can probably skip through the video and figure it out really easily.
Yeah.
And Kalindi's probably goes over way more features and way more advanced, but this is just the very basics.
Okay.
We talk about 2 things. One is how to record them, and 2 is how to record yourself. I think recording yourself is useful sometimes if you really don't know why you're doing something wrong, so you can just watch yourself do it frame by frame.
Sorry, what do you mean by record them versus when you say them? Do you mean the CPU? And when you say
so I'm going to record Marth doing short hop fair to dash back, and I'm going to practice with punishing it. Versus I'm going to record myself ledge dashing and then look at which part of the ledge dash is making my ledge dashes imperfect.
Oh,
because then you can replay it 1 frame at a time and watch yourself do it.
And you, sorry, and you go over this during this video?
Yes.
Cool.
And I linked it in the current lesson volume.
That sounds, yeah, I saw that. That sounds useful.
Yeah. It was, like I said, a bit of a struggle, but you can skip through the video and you'll get everything you need out of it, I think.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's kind of what practicing, I think, should look like. And like, I think, for example, if you go back and watch the recordings of our lessons, you can easily find probably upwards of 20 things individually that you can say, oh, that is a concept I need to practice. And if I practice it, it'll be so much easier to implement.
Yeah. Right. I'll probably do that.
Yeah, I think, and you don't have to overwhelm yourself, but if you just like rewatch one lesson, pick 3 major things, and then just for that week, practice those 3 major things in 20xx or versus a computer.
Mm-hmm.
And that might not take that much time. Each thing might take 20 minutes to do.
Right. Yeah. Just enough to have it on the forefront of your memory.
Yeah, I think on the forefront of your memory and have some basic implementation level so that when you play friendlies, you will not be lost.
Right.
Because the worst thing you can do for improving is play 2 hours of friendlies and be like, I didn't do anything.
Yeah.
And the best thing you can do is watch one of our lessons first, review it, practice it, and then go play.
Have something to think about.
Yes.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, maybe I'll do that. And it could be against anyone.
Yeah, it really can.
It could be fucking net play.
Yeah, it literally doesn't matter unless it's a concept that you can't do on net play.
Yeah,
like,
or sure. Yeah,
don't waste your time. If you practice reacting to side B audio on LAN on 20xx, don't take that to your net play.
Yeah.
Because reacting to side B on net play is absurd.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I was getting kind of so frustrating because it's not gonna be a problem anymore. I had 2 CRTs. I brought one to the office because we wanted to play Melee at the office.
Oh, nice.
My CRT that I left at home has no sound. I decided I would bring the nicer one to the office. And I was playing with Clayton last week, and he's playing all Falco, and I just had to give up on running side B. I was like, this is so stupid.
It's actually so stupid. Yeah,
I can't. I just can't. I can't do it.
It's just no longer real. Yeah, so don't practice that, for example.
Right.
But it's something simple like, hey, when you roll, this is one of the most common problems in Melee. When people roll and spot dodge, they literally don't look at the other person to do it.
Oh, they're just like, I need to get the fuck out of here.
Yeah, so they roll, and then they don't look, and then they run away. And sometimes I'm watching someone play, and I'm like, yo, when you rolled, they literally whiffed a dash attack. Go kill them. And they're like, oh, but I was scared. And it's like, yeah, but
if you were looking at them.
Look at them.
Yeah. Even top players do this. I noticed this.
Literally, almost every top Fox player has this problem.
Specifically Fox?
Yeah, because Fox players are always scared to die. Fox players are the most God-fearing mains. Because they know what it's like to just die for everything.
I noticed this watching Ultimate Evo Grand Finals, actually. I think it was Tweak or somebody. It was a really they were both at 100, whatever the fuck, really important game or whatever. And Tweak rolled out of the corner twice.
Yes.
Just to really make the fuck sure, or whatever. But
yeah,
but you really didn't have to roll that second time.
It's such a waste. And sometimes you miss a kill or you miss
Yeah.
It's actually huge. So especially in Fox Marth, the first time I watched Kalindi, I was like, if you just reacted every time you teched, on the ground, you roll, spot dodge, and nothing else changed, you would probably perform 1 stock better per game, just straight up.
Wow.
And that's not a hard thing to do.
Not really, no.
It's something you have to do.
So you notice foxes do this more than most.
Yeah,
are there characters that are very good at? I can guess. Are there characters that are very good at always trying to punish you when they do rolls? For example,
I feel like maybe I don't know about rolls specifically, but I feel like the characters that come to mind that are very good at like paying attention while doing defensive options are like, you know, Ice Climbers, Peach, Puff, like those players.
Yeah, I could see that.
Like, I was also who are you thinking?
I was gonna suggest perhaps Falco, but maybe.
Oh yeah, I mean, right. Well, I don't know if they're good at reacting or if Falco just fucking the spots where he roll shines are just fucking OP.
Yeah, it's almost like when Falco. It's almost different. It's almost like when Falco does rolls like roll shines. It's almost like that's not a defensive option.
Yeah, it's the spots where they roll.
Yeah. Okay, got it.
Yeah. But like when I think of like fucking playing like Mr. Kyle, if he does a random option, he turns random situations into wobbles like
all
no
the time. Yeah.
It's insane.
Wow. And why don't Fox players do this? We should turn
because they're scared of dying. And Kyle's like, well, my character sucks. I might as well find a way to wobble you.
Yeah. Not as gonna die anyway.
Yeah, like his priorities are very different.
Hmm.
So I think you just develop different skill sets. But, you know, that's such a simple change. And like, yeah, I might practice that on net play because that's so easy to practice.
Yeah.
So like I said, you know, go back, watch the 2 lessons we've had. You can very easily piece together a practice routine, I think, based on that.
Just off of that. Wow. Well, yeah, that's a really good tip.
Cool. I'm glad. And I think if you just spend some time doing that, you know, you might find you watch a whole hour lesson, you're like, and you message me and you're like, yo, we talked about like 30 things. What do you think is like, these are the ones I think are most important. How do you think I should practice these? And then like, I can tell you really easily.
Right. Yeah. If it's an abstract enough concept that it's not obvious how I should be practicing.
Yeah, exactly. And if it's something specific, then yeah, you just do it. If it's abstract, then yeah, just if you can't figure it out, ask me. And lots of like I said, like Shabo used to do that all the time. And I think he got like way fucking better just by like, you know, taking his time and grinding out one thing at a time.
One situation.
Yeah, or one concept or like
concept.
I always tell people who think improvement is hard, I'm like, if you can improve at 3 things per week, just 3 concrete things, no matter how small, at the end of a year, you've improved at 150 things. And if you took, you know, let's say you split those up evenly among matchups, you know, there's only like fucking 8 matchups you play. So you're improving at like 20 things per matchup. If I took one Fox Sitter right now and concretely improved you at 20 things, how much better would you perform?
Yeah.
Right? Like just, even if they're really small.
Jeez.
Like you versus I, let's improve 20 things. You might
Right. Yeah, totally.
Yeah, and that's just 3 things a week. Like literally just that.
Jeez.
So like really thinking about improvement as this concrete, discrete, like step-by-step thing, I think helps a lot.
So why do so many people hit plateaus then?
Because eventually the things that are easy to improve at disappear, I think. And I think that people develop different skill sets and get to different levels of ease of improvement. But like once the things you need to improve at stop being obvious, like what do you do? And it's like how many people are down to sit down and rethink you either have to fundamentally rethink how you approach the game, because, you know, someone who doesn't have good reaction points can never figure out how to improve anymore if that's not a part of their improvement, right?
Yeah.
So there's either a fundamental thing they're missing, or it's a bunch of small things and they haven't been specific enough. People are very, very frequently not specific.
Okay. So probably what's happening too with Melee is that because it's so physical or whatever, it's so easy to play good or play bad. I think a lot of people get into this mindset.
Oh yeah, it's so easy.
Well, dude. I just need to play better.
Yeah,
which is kind of true. Better, like if they did play better, they'd probably have won that game or whatever.
Yeah, dude. I need to play better is like the bane of Melee.
Yeah,
like, you don't need to play better. You need to get better.
You need to get
better will make you play better.
Right, more consistently.
Or
that's the problem.
Yeah. And one of my least favorite things I think is that Melee players like almost view sets as like they don't view it as RNG, and I'll explain what I mean. So like Spark will play Diplomatic Toucan, like this used to happen, and he would play him with Ices, and then he won't have gotten better versus Ices, and he'll go to another tournament in hopes of beating him. And I'm like, this isn't like an anime where just because you like believed and ran it back that you're gonna like somehow beat him. Like, what did you change? And he's like, I didn't change anything. And I'm like, then why? Like, even if you beat him this time, you have not gotten better. Like, it doesn't mean anything.
Right. You're just hoping that something works out.
Yeah, that you play better or that you get lucky or that, and people don't view it as luck. They view, because everyone likes to view themselves kind of like, oh, I deserve this. I earned it. I'm the protagonist. It's like, no, like you didn't get better. So even if you lose 3 sets and then win the 4th set, who cares if you didn't discreetly tell me, oh, like one thing I tell Spark is when Nana double jumps, you have to fair her out of it. Like that's how she kills her. And then like I watch him play and he doesn't fair the double jump and he doesn't kill Nana. And I'm like, I don't care if you beat him this time if you didn't fair the double jump. You know, it's like make a discrete improvement. That's how you get better.
Man.
Yeah. Okay. And people are not specific at all. Like, you know, even the best player in the world, I guarantee you, I can watch one of their VODs and find like 100 things they did wrong in any given game, right?
Right.
For most players, you know, maybe not literally every player, but that's just how it is. And it's like, you know, even if Leffen wants to say I played bad, I can say, hey, this was a bad combo. Go practice that combo.
Right.
And it might help them win a set one day, you know?
You can still get better at specific things.
Even just that simple. And it's like, you know, you improve at 3 specific things a week, you're a better player.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. It's like almost, I think people think, oh, if I'm they view improvement the opposite way, where I'm like, okay, so do these things better, and that's what makes you a better player. And people almost want to be a better player first and say, oh, now that I'm better, I do these things better.
Right. I see. They look at it the wrong way. They look at it almost like it's like an RPG stat sheet or whatever.
Yeah, exactly. And it's like, no, you do things better, and because you do them better, you are now a better player.
You are now a better player, but you have to It's excellence is a habit, not a.
Exactly. Yeah. It's not an RPG stat.
Not an attribute.
That's literally the problem.
That's I like that way of thinking about it. God, and I guess the problem too is that like it's so easy to improve when you're bad.
It's so exactly.
Because it does feel like an RPG. Yeah, that's where all that bad mindset stuff comes from, is because like
it's so
literally
easy to do anything and improve.
Yeah. Oh my God.
And that's why people hit different plateaus, because you know your skill set might coincidentally lead you to a higher skill level than someone else, but everyone ends up plateauing because they don't build good habits for improvement. And, you know, that might differ from person to person for various reasons, but at the end of the day, like, for 95% of the population, none of them actually get good, because it's like, you all have the same problems, it's just at different levels.
And eventually it starts taking work they're not willing to put in or otherwise.
Yeah,
okay.
Cool. So.
Wow.
Yeah,
that
was a good talk.
That's a really big tip. Yeah.
So I hope you have a good approach now. I guess this kind of let us frame how you should approach improving on what we talked about the last 2 times.
Right.
But you're gonna become the best. Let's go, Billy. Okay, so you want to talk about Ice Climbers, and lucky that you chose that, I think, because if there was a matchup that we were only going to talk about for like 20 minutes, I would choose Ice Climbers.
Ice Climbers. You know, well, hang on. Before we even get to that, I'm actually even okay if we don't get to that, because I want to explore one other concept first. And this is in the context of Ultimate. So as you know, I'm also trying to get good at that game. And I'm trying to think how some of this stuff fits in Ultimate. So there are a couple of things that are notably different. One, less execution-centric.
Yes, absolutely.
Right. The other, way more matchup-centric. So many matchups. So I'm kind of trying to think, like, how would improvement look different for even, I mean, I know you don't really, like, play that game actively at all.
I have played it enough to know how it works. But
you've probably played enough to know, and also how you would want to improve at it if you were trying to become a top player in that game. Okay, let's say for the sake of argument, or not even for the sake of argument. Okay, so I'm an Ultimate player who's like, you know, my skill level is, I can almost beat my PR player sometimes.
Okay.
But I'm also liable to get upset by a random guy at a local who's maybe playing a character I don't know.
Yeah, of course. I mean, that's just
it's how the game works. Yeah, at least at a low level, right? How do you structure improvement at a game like that? Especially noting that with Melee, because this is something I've been stuck at for a while. With Melee, if I want to get good at, I mean, you can almost become like a top player in your local scene at Melee just by having really good execution.
Oh yeah.
Right. You obviously that doesn't really apply in Ultimate quite the same way, unless you're playing some character like fucking Ken or Ice Climbers or something where you can.
Yeah, where it's like, okay, I have a gross punish game and.
Yeah. So how would you structure improvement at Ultimate?
Okay, so
does that question make sense?
Yeah. I mean, I don't even think about the skill level so much as I'm thinking about, okay, so how do you improve at Ultimate?
Right.
Ultimate as a game to me has like very I mean, the game just follows kind of a flowchart to me from what I
Okay.
understand about it, where it's like
Okay.
there's only so many situations you have to deal with.
Right.
And I think that a lot of characters are very explicitly like very good at dealing with certain things or very bad at dealing with others. So
Yeah.
what I mean by that is, for example, I mained Mewtwo.
Okay.
Oh, you made Mewtwo?
No, Mewtwo. I my secondary is like Mewtwo. I think
Oh,
Mewtwo
okay. But you play it. Yeah, so I think Mewtwo is actually really good and underrated. But I think one of the reasons he's considered bad is because he has a lot of trouble punishing things that are A, common, but B, other characters have an easy time punishing.
Oh, like what?
The easiest example is someone short hopping directly at you. If you're Pichu, your dash goes under them, and then you just tilt stick up anytime they jump at you. You're Lucina, you dash back, you forward tilt. Forward tilt is an amazing anti-air. You're
Yeah.
Mewtwo, you actually don't have moves that hit there very well.
Really?
Yeah, his moves just aren't good at hitting there because they're often the biggest reason his aerials suck at hitting it. And then if you tilt, it's like his forward tilt is like
slow.
His forward tilt is very low hitting unless you aim it upwards, but even then that's the execution on aiming forward tilt upwards out of dashback is insanely difficult.
Yeah.
I don't know if you've even tried that before, but it's insanely hard.
Can't you just tilt the C-stick a certain way to do it or no?
It's really weird. I wish I knew how it worked, but I practiced it a ton and I could only do it somewhat consistently.
Fascinating.
But
so you probably have to either pivot grab, but then pivot grab you have spaced it a certain way.
Also, pivot grab is so tiny.
Yo.
Like when fucking Crom is jumping at you with Nair or something, you can't fucking pivot grab like him out of the air.
Oh shit. Yeah, okay.
Right? And it's like I'd much rather be Lucina and fair you out of the air, or dash back forward smash you, or be Pichu and run under you and up tilt you, or like, what have you, right?
Right.
So for Mewtwo, for example, I identified that's a problem situation. So I was like, okay, how do I address this situation? I came up with a bunch of solutions. One solution I got from watching Tweak and lots of Ultimate players, which is full hop is a good counter to short hop if you time it right. And that also works in Melee. Like, for example, Sheik has to do that to beat Marth short hops sometimes. She full hops, Marth short hop nairs, then you fair him. But full hopping in Ultimate's way less risky.
So. Fox also does this a lot.
Yes, exactly. So, that's a classic. So with Mewtwo, what I do is I mix up staying grounded, short hop spamming, and full hop spamming. Because if I stay grounded, I can run under them at certain ranges if they short hop. But also it lets me counter their full hop. If I full hop too much, most characters just jump at me and hit me out of the air.
Right.
But if I full hop at the time that they short hop, I can counter it, etc. So I kind of came up with this flowchart of here's how I stay grounded, here's how I short hop, here's how I full hop, and here's how I counter the things Mewtwo struggles with.
I see.
And I feel like Ultimate's a game where there's only so many like ways to interact with each other.
So you can it's okay. So let me see if I understand this. It's kind of like you're making buckets. You're making buckets of like, this is the bucket of all the options that my full hop beats.
Yeah.
This
but like
it's
so easy to do that in Ultimate because there's so much less nuance in how any individual interaction goes.
Right. You just have to know. So there's a lot of knowledge essentially. You just have to know. I think
there's a lot of knowledge and a lot of very fast RPSing.
Yeah, there's definitely a lot of very fast RPS.
It's literally like, oh, you short hopped at me, I dashed away when neither of us hit each other. But now it's the same situation. But now we're like dash attack. I could dash attack you before you shield, and then like that's the next thing. And then you rolled away as I was running at you. So now I full hop because I thought you'd short, and it just goes back and forth like that very quickly.
Interesting. And this is different from Melee. How?
Because I think Melee has that, but with significantly more nuance because you can actually control your character more meaningfully. So, for example, it's not simple enough that full hop beats short hop because, like, it's easy for me to wait on the ground and wait for you to full hop and create an advantage. If you wait on the ground in Ultimate, you don't necessarily, it's not the same reward for waiting, right?
Yeah, I got you.
Like, do you get what I mean by that?
And also, I guess, like, in Melee, you have ways to, even though full hopping generally beats short hopping, like if it's like Sheik versus Marth or something, if the Marth like short hops and like reacts properly, he might even be able to somehow eke out a win in that situation or something.
Yeah. There's a lot more variation on like drift and stuff like that in terms of how it affects interactions, and like how the moves interact is also way more nuanced. Like Ultimate attacks are extremely unnuanced attacks.
I see. Right. It's like the thing you said about how like big moves remove nuance.
Yes. It's literally
More of that
big
happens
moves remove nuance the game.
often.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
literally that's the game, you know. So
And so
like
and then the caveat is when you know big moves remove nuance, like you can just make the right call. You don't have to
yeah,
worry
it's
too
just
much
making
about.
the right ultimate is so much just making the right calls. But you have to know what the calls are or else you just get bodied.
You have to know what the calls are, right? And so if you
Right.
don't know what the calls are, so if you're probably trying to get better at ultimate, if you were taking like a reasonably new player or whatever, and they were trying to become like a high level player, even like at the local scene or something, the first thing you probably tell them is just fucking what?
I mean, if I had to really break it down, I'd say a couple things. One, actually, the first thing, which we haven't talked about, I actually made this tweet a long time ago, and it's funny because Leffen essentially here. Let me show you this.
Okay.
I tweeted this, I think, on March 7th, and Leffen just essentially made the same tweet like a week ago. And it's really funny because I think
defensive choices can. Oh yeah, he was saying the best. He was saying like right. Leffen was saying
you
like,
know
the
what tweet
best
I'm
of the
talking
best.
about, right?
Yeah. Like less is like the best of the best players basically are really good at like not getting hit, not giving up stocks to like knowing what
Yeah, I mean the way I worded it. Yeah, so literally I predicted this in March. Because
current top player population doesn't have a good concept of which defensive choices can or can't get them killed. So this is like roles. Like when you say defensive choices, you mean
here's example. There are situations. It's like taking the throw in Street Fighter V. There are situations where if you roll and they read it, you die. But if you full hop out of shield and they read it, you don't die.
Right.
Or you hold shield. Like people don't take the throw literally. It's like just hold shield if they don't have a shield break move. Literally, you'd rather get hit off the stage 8 times than get your roll red and forward smash and die at 80.
Right? Yes, correct.
Or like fucking, I was watching, and the reason I remember watching MK Leo versus Tweak, and I actually thought MK Leo was fucking awful at the time because I was like, he's just rolling in the spots where Tweak can like up tilt to waft and stuff like that. Or it's like another one was he would short hop forward out of the corner, but that's one of the worst choices you can do versus Wario because Wario's entire combo game is off an aerial. So if Tweak baits your aerial and then nairs you or fares you out of the air, that's where he gets his big combo.
Right, and he
if
didn't
you're
realize
on the ground, how does Tweak get his launcher if you don't get hit stupidly?
When you said comparing it to Take the Throw in Street Fighter V, that made so much sense.
Yeah, it's literally people don't know how to take the throw.
Oh my god.
And that's so at the time I was like, whoever gets good at taking the throw in Ultimate, which is not easy though, because every character has different tools, right?
Right, and there's fucking 70 of them.
Yeah, there's 70 of them, and they all kill you in different ways at different percents, and it's different from matchup to matchup. But if you learn how to take the throw in every matchup, you're just going to get a billion more chances than everyone else. And
oh my god!
Inversely or conversely, if you learn how to take advantage of people not knowing how to take the throw, it's like, yeah, I'll go for the read that will get me the kill. That's safe otherwise. Funnily enough, this is kind of how Armada plays Melee anyway, but I think it's pretty execution tested.
It is how Armada plays Melee, isn't it?
But in Melee, I kind of don't like it because I think the game has more to it than that. But it works in Melee because if his execution is better than yours, it kind of doesn't matter.
Is that all Armada does?
I mean, it's not all he does. He also does many good things. But like, once you get good enough to get past all the good things, I think that's all that's left.
Wow.
But like, that's a very high wall to pass where he's already much better at fighting games than, almost everyone. But
Armada, yeah.
But, if you can match him on that level, all that's left is the execution test and making the decisions that don't get you killed.
Right.
Yeah. But
right.
I mean,
and then, oh man, God. And that's really, oh geez. And that's a good point. Because that is all he does. And that literally just has won him every tournament.
Yeah, of course. But that's because Melee is a game where literally the only thing that matters is how you die or how you take stocks and then also execution. And like, yeah, I mean, Armada's execution is extremely consistent. And he plays in a style that doesn't require high ceiling of it.
Yeah.
He's not trying to fucking, ledge dash every time. Like, watch his Fox play. That's how, like, when he switched to Fox, to me, that's what exposed the playstyle the most. He's not trying to actually play at the peak of Melee. He's just doing consistent, easy things, but very, very well.
Right.
So anyway, going back to Ultimate, it's like, yeah, the first thing I would tell an Ultimate player is learn how to not die, learn how to take the throw.
I have notoriously been bad at this. It's something I've been thinking about a lot lately.
Well, it's probably one of the easiest things to learn
I
because
played this Pikachu on stream at Evo, and I kept getting there like 2 or 3 times. I got like forward smash killed at 80 because I like fucking did some ledge option or whatever. I like
that gets you forward. It's just like choose the ledge option that doesn't get you forward smash,
Right,
even if
just
you get
jump.
hit off 80 times.
Yeah, I should have gotten hit off 80 times.
Yeah, it's literally better, and it's not even an interesting decision to make. Like that's another thing. Like people talk about Street Fighter, they're like, "Oh, look at all the mix-ups," and I'm like, "There's no mix-up because if you don't take the throw, you're dumb here."
Right.
Like it's literally inexcusable to not take the throw in Street Fighter because characters don't get a mix-up off their throw. So it's like the risk reward is literally you take a throw and you reset to neutral and you take 10% of your health, or you get shimmied and lose 50% of your health.
Yeah, it's a no-brainer.
Yeah, it's literally a no-brainer. Unless you're very low health, and then the percentages start changing where it's like,
and then it becomes interesting.
50-50 for me to die, I have to guess on the 50-50.
That's the whole point, remember when Lovage was
remember when Lovage was what?
A big advocate of like, it's like 2010, but he was always talking about like, just fucking recover high when you're a low percent. It's fine.
Yeah, exactly.
Why would you recover low? It's the only thing that can get you killed.
Yes, it's literally the same.
It's the same thing, right? Yeah.
Yes.
Wow.
But then when you're at 100% versus, Sheik Fair, it doesn't matter if you recover higher.
Yeah, then it's interesting.
Yeah, and then it becomes a mix-up. But it's literally not interesting the other ones.
Man.
Yeah, so ultimate, like that's the definition of ultimate pretty much is.
Okay.
Because also, if you've noticed, every player is just fishing for their fucking combo starter, and it's like every character has like 2 to 3 combo starters. So it's like, what do I play around?
Right.
It's like, wow, the Palutena sure is only nairing. I guess I only have to play around nair. And it's like, sure, I'll get hit by every other thing. Just don't let me get naired at 0 and take 40%.
Yeah. Oh, God.
And of course, that's true in Melee as well. But again, the number of combo starters and ways things can happen are more varied.
One thing that I think is really different about Melee and Ultimate is that I think with Ultimate, it's very like kill options or kill moves or kill moves, common moves or common moves for the most part, like Palutena.
And there's not much in between.
Right. And like which is interesting in the sense that like you actually really like every character can get arthritis basically.
Yes.
Like you do have to be very smart about like how you get and like there's kind of this weighted RPS at a lot of percents where it's like they kind of know you want to hit your kill option, whatever. You know it too, but like it's going to be obvious, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. The only character that really functions that way in Melee, honestly, is Marth, I think, in the top tier, at least against
Yeah, which is why if you're good against Marth, you play around the kills at high percent, you play around the kills at low percent.
Right. But then if you're Fox, you're like, you don't care about any of that.
No, you don't. You're just
running the exact Yeah. Which was your big thing. It's like trust your execution, just get a shine knockdown and you'll kill them.
Yeah, you will kill them. Nothing. You don't need like a specific hit.
That's so funny.
Okay. Yeah, exactly. But when you're playing against Marth, it becomes more relevant.
Right. Because I'm sure if you told a Marth player, like yeah, in Ultimate, you have to worry about kill moves versus non-kill moves way more than in Melee. I'm sure every Marth main would be like, well,
yeah, no. I mean, I kind of already feel that way.
I feel that way. Yeah, I feel that way about Melee today. So
the Ultimate's it's like even exacerbated on that, right?
Right. Every character. I mean, I play Inkling, so it's like super duper crystallized.
Yeah, exactly. So like, Inkling's another character that I think is pretty decent dealing with. So a big reason I think people think Inkling's good is because she has an easy time dealing with the common things in the game. Pretty good ledge trapping, pretty good at beating short hop. Like Inkling doesn't struggle to beat basic things in the game.
Yeah. That's
why I think Mewtwo is considered bad. And it's like if you go back to the beginning of Melee era, one reason Sheik is considered good is because it is easy to beat any individual option.
Oh yeah, I was thinking the reason Sheik was considered good was because of you can combo.
Oh yeah. I mean, obviously there are many reasons, but one reason among many is that it's an easy time to beat certain options.
Right.
Like you're recovering. I just throw my needle. Even fucking 2005, Dreffin.
But even 2005 Dreffin.
Yeah, and you know what I mean?
I do know what you mean. Are there any other? You named 2 things with regards to improvement. You said one is kind of identify quote unquote where to take the throw. The second thing you said, if I'm getting this right, is like maybe these were in reverse. The other thing you said was basically like identify what the common options are that people always look for and just like find the answers to those.
Yeah. And like obviously for each character, what you need to focus on is a little different.
Right.
But like if you don't know how to beat someone short hopping at you every single time in Ultimate, I don't think you know how to play Ultimate.
Yeah.
Like, if you know they're going to short hop at you in a specific spot, do you have a counter at every spacing, at every percent? Do you know how your character functions here, you know? And like I said, with Mewtwo, that was insanely fucking difficult. You know, with Pichu, maybe not.
Yeah. Can I tell you
one
specific? Can I have one? Well, I have two questions. One is like, do you have 2 bullet points I have right now?
Well, sorry, you cut out. What was the first thing?
Oh, sorry. My first question is, do you have any other bullet points besides those 2? Because those are the 2 that
I mean, I do, but they're all like extensions, essentially. Like, you know,
those.
Yeah, I mean, like for the second one, like, you know, ledge trapping essentially falls into that department, right?
Yes.
Like, you know, like commonly repeated scenarios that you need to have answers to, because Ultimate only has so many, and they're so like rinse repeatable, and it's so important whether or not you have an answer. And I mean, Melee eventually turns into that. Every game turns into that, but it's like the speed at which Melee becomes that is much slower because you have a billion other things to learn along the way.
Right.
Ultimate, the game doesn't have that many other things.
Yeah, it gets there much faster.
Yeah, it's almost like the thing with easy games is that they approach like the optimized form very immediately, because it's like every game is essentially there's a bunch of fluff and then there's a bunch of situations. And it's like, do you know what to do in these situations? And Ultimate just doesn't have fluff.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
That does make sense.
So
what are some other games that you consider to have fluff, by the way?
I mean, fucking any game where, I mean, like Marvel 3, Guilty Gear, like...
Right.
There's so much you have to know before you're even getting to the very basics of the, like, what's the mix-up?
Right. Eunice or something.
But yeah, so like ledge trapping's really common one. So I said short hopping at you. Ledge trapping, really common one. You know, what's safe and unsafe on shield? You know, that's a big one. Like, do you know how long I watched Ultimate for at the beginning of a Ultimate? And this reminds me of like when I watch a Norwalk play Melee, and it's like they take turns attacking and then shielding and then aerialing out of shield, and the other guy shields, and then you aerial out of shield and the other guy shields.
Yeah. Like, Norwalk does the same thing.
Norwalk does exactly that in Melee. It's like Mango nairs Johnny shield, and then shields not get stomped out of shield, but then Johnny does bear out of shield, and then he fast falls and shields, and then Mango bears out of shield. I'm like, you guys aren't even playing mix-ups. Like, sometimes that is the mix-up. But
that's so funny, because Hugo was complaining. There was one thing Hugo was complaining about playing with Ultimate, which was this exact thing. He was like, yeah, I hate how the thing you just described. He's like, I hate how often that happens.
Yeah, but it's because people are bad. You know what HBox did to Mango once?
Well, it's just funny that Hugo specifically complained about it.
Yeah, Hugo specifically. Yeah, it's definitely.
What did HBox do?
Okay, so HBox was playing Mango once, and they had that interaction happen, and HBox, and it was last stock, last hit on like game 4 where HBox was up 2-1, and HBox just straight up raw wave dash grabbed out of shield, and Mango held shield.
So he did. Let me get this straight. He like landed with an arrow, whatever. His shields.
It was just Mango, the classic taking turns thing. And then instead of taking his turn and like drilling out of shield or naring out of shield with Puff, and it was a spot where Mango felt like he had to shield.
They're both shielding. He wave dashes out of shield and just grabs him.
Yeah.
Wow.
And it was like nobody does that, even though that's like what the mix-up is that's on the table.
That's phenomenal. To give you an example, by the way, of how good, you know, like in Melee, like someone's shielding on a platform, you know, sometimes you waveland up there and you grab them and you feel a little fraudulent for it. You're like, well, if they were reacting.
Yeah.
I literally get away with this in Ultimate against good players. And you know how much slower, you know, the waveland is like, I don't know, it must be at least 10 frames slower than the Melee waveland.
Oh, yeah, in Ultimate, that's I think in Melee, it's a real mix-up. In Ultimate, that sounds extremely fraudulent.
It's extremely fraudulent, but it still fucking works.
Yeah, exactly.
Because, like, you know.
No, and it's realizing that, like, that's the level most people are playing on. It's like, there's so much autopiloting going on that it's like, if you can escape that and just understand what's actually going on and figure out, it's like, be specific. How do you hit them? And hitting them is not just, like, not accounting for frame advantage and arrowing out of shield randomly. It's like actually understanding that, oh, I have enough time to play more of a mix-up than just aerialing and hoping.
Yeah, got it.
And Melee, I think, real mix-up, though, for sure.
Right. Yeah, that makes sense. Okay, I have one last question. It's a very specific question.
Sure.
Because in all this talk, this is something that I realize I have big problems with in Ultimate, and I still have somewhat smaller problems with this in Melee due to the nature of the cast. But basically, one option that I have a lot of problem with dealing with in Ultimate, and I think this ties in my Melee game too, is that like, okay, so the prime candidate character that's like this is Ness, but also characters like Luigi, Mario, characters that can throw out more than one hitbox in the air, especially off a short up. So like Ness can do like, you know, Rising Fair, he can do a down B stall, and then land with another aerial. Or something. Right. And all through the while, drift, he's kind of messing with his drift with the down B. You know, like my like first instinct as Inkling is like, oh, if you're doing aerials at me, like I want to dash dance and punish them with like I want to whip punish you with like a dash.
Yes, but you can't dash dance punish because he can delay his timing or drift.
There's a million fucking yeah, and melee kind of has a lot of this too with regards to like, you know, if Sheik is being clever about how she does her aerials. Like I think we talked about how, you know, you gave me a tip to use Running Shine to punish like Sheik landing with a whiffing.
Yeah.
Marth fucking punishing Marth's forwarder. Sometimes I feel like you just can't, etc.
Yeah. So what do you do about it?
How do you go about? Yeah, I mean, it might be different. Ultimate, maybe you have to engage in more air to air. Anyway, I'm curious what your thoughts are because I have a real problem with this. Like characters that mix up their drift and throw out more than one hitbox.
Yeah, so I mean, at a simple level, like, did we talk about what the actual mix-up is in Melee when someone short hops?
What is the actual mix-up?
Well, did we talk about how it's like, okay, so it's like you should always treat it as a read. It's like, okay, so Sheik short hops. Yeah. You have to read whether she's going to fast fall fair or no fast fall drift or, you know, etc. Like, did we talk about that?
We didn't talk about that.
Okay, so that's
like, it is a read, right? It's a read.
Yeah, it's just straight up a read. And as soon as people stop thinking about it, it's just a read.
Thank you.
So that's what solves the problem, right? So you need to know what's a read and what's a reaction.
How are some people so fucking consistent at it? Like I watch Zane and Zane just grabs people out of their fucking retreat forwarders. Like Ty was commentating the Zane match.
Because people
is that all it is?
Yeah, people do it the same way, and Zane isn't reacting. He reacts to the situation and then just commits.
He's like right, like all the time.
Because people do the same thing every time.
Oh my god!
Like because like especially when you play Melee, you're so encouraged to just execute. It's like auto cancel fair, fast fall, dash back. That's what Sheik does. You're just like, you know, every time, and it's like if you, like a Sheik was getting dash dance grabbed by Zane, and they just didn't fast fall and then full drifted into him and fared, he would get hit every time.
Oh.
Yeah, like literally, if Sheik short hops and someone's in the corner and someone's dash dancing in place looking for the grab with punish on the fastball, Sheik full drift forwards fares, guaranteed hit. Literally every time.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, and it's just that's the mix-up, you know?
Okay.
But Melee, we were encouraged to just do technical things, and if we do them, that's how it works, and that's just how we learn the game. Right. But anyway, so like you have to understand the mix-ups first. And I mean, the same rules apply to everything. It's understand what's reactable and what's not.
I thought it was reactable. I thought it was just bad.
Yeah. It's like understand what's reactable and then understand what's a mix-up. And then as soon as you figure that out, for example, let's say Nest short hop fares and you're Inkling.
Yeah.
Do you know, like for sure, concretely, whether you can air to air him on reaction and at what ranges you can and can't?
I don't know off the top of my head.
Yeah, I don't either. So I would have no clue. But you know what? Just fucking go have someone short hop and ask yourself, can I air to air this on reaction? How much of a read is it? And in Melee, sometimes that comes down to, am I reacting to jump squat frames or airborne frames? So for example, a classic one is Zamu would nair at Sheik every time she jumped and he would get fair. And he was like, why is this happening? And I
say that again. What is Zamu doing?
So Zamu would nair at Sheik on reaction to her short hop.
Oh.
And he would get fared every time. And he's like, I thought Fox was supposed to nair Sheik out of the air. So then we talked about it, and I was like, okay, so here's how it works. Let's actually count the frames right now. I think this will help you a lot.
Okay.
So Sheik, to do a forward air at the peak of her short hop, which is to get the auto cancel, she fares on frame 16. And it's what's up?
16 of what? 16 of her airborne?
Yes, airborne.
Okay.
That is the standard AC fair timing. Most Sheiks fare a little earlier though because they're not perfect on the AC, so they do it like frame 15, let's say. And then her fair hits frame 5, but doesn't hit in front of her till frame 6, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so frame 6 plus 15, that's 21 frames. Okay. So if your reaction time is about 15 frames. Like even people with really good reactions when they're expecting something are 14 or 13 at best.
Right.
So if you're a 15 frame reaction time and you're trying to react and you have to hit her by frame 21, you have a 6 frame window. So
and you have to be spaced properly.
Yes, everything has to be perfect. And 6 frames, your nair doesn't even come out in 6 frames. So like even with a perfect reaction, your nair will not hit her. In fact, it is the exact timing to where if you jump. So if you're dashing at her at the perfect spacing, like you said, and you jump nair on reaction to her short hop, you will get fared 100% of the time.
Christ.
You're setting yourself up to get fared. Now
there's 3 frames of jump squat.
So now let's say you react to her jump squat. Suddenly, if you're dashing at her and you do perfect rising nair, it beats fair every time. Do you see what I mean?
I don't know that I have the powers to react to someone's jump squat.
Now, so that's another question. Can you react to it or can you not?
I don't know that I can. I'm 30 years
I
old.
personally can react to Sheik jump squat.
Maybe I can. I don't fucking know what it looks like. I have this vague image in my head of crouching down.
So usually what you react to when you're looking for jump squats, not a specific animation, you kind of look for the character to flutter. Because it's only 3 frames, so it's too fast to see. But you see them essentially like flutter down and up really quickly.
Oh, because they were dashing or whatever, and now they're
exactly. So now the funny thing is, and Melee is not even played on this level, but funnily enough, if someone's reacting to jump squat, you know what that means? Wave dash back versus short hop is actually a mix up on your reaction to jump squat. Because if you nair when you see her jump and she wave dashes back, you get punished.
Jesus Christ.
But then there's the whole layer where if you short hop at her and just don't nair, then you just go back to the mix up of I could not nair, empty land, and dash back, and then you miss your whiff punch.
Right. So that's if you're really sick, then you'll react with a short hop forward, but you'll wait to confirm to do the nair.
Well, you probably can't, right? I don't think you can wait to nair on reaction to her going airborne because then you'll just get there.
Yeah.
But if now let's say you short hop and you could read the wave dash back, then yeah, you can play that whole mix up and not nair when you see the wave dash. Yeah, sure.
Got it. Oh,
but yeah, so there's all that going on. So, but the point is, we went kind of too deep, even though it's cool.
No, that's fine.
Yeah. So what essentially happens is if you think a Sheik is going to jump, you at least confirm the jump squat, and if you see it, then nair is on the table. If you don't see the jump squat, nairing is a literal waste of time. If you don't. And then if you're reacting to her going airborne, you just never nair.
Yeah.
And just knowing that, suddenly, Zamu is way better at this situation because he will never nair on reaction to a Sheik going airborne again.
What's he do instead?
I don't know yet. We have to figure that out. The first step was getting him to not get fared every single time.
Yeah. Just get out of there if nothing else. That's way better.
Yeah, and then I know what to do, what the other options are, but that's the basis for how to think about the mix up there. And I remember playing Samus Sheik with Duck at Shine last year, and he made me play Samus versus Sheik because we've been doing lessons for a while and we were trying to figure out the matchup. So we just played it for an hour, and he was like, I want to see what you do, what your conclusions are about the matchup based on playing me for a while. And one thing he noticed was that the only time I ever dash attacked in the matchup with Samus was when I saw Sheik's jump squat happen.
Interesting.
And he was like, holy shit, because before he would try to dash attack on reaction to her going airborne and it would never work. Or he would do dash attacks when she's just on the ground and that would never work. And then he's like, wait, why are all your dash attacks working? And I was like, well, when I see your jump squat, I dash attack. And he's like, holy shit, I've never done that before.
Wow.
And then he got way better at the matchup,
Maybe I should try that.
So maybe it'll help. So going back to the ultimate question, the answer is, do you know if you can air to air on reaction?
Who fucking knows?
Yeah, if not, maybe that means you need to read it more often. Maybe it means, what if you're dashing at them? Do you think you can continue to run at them and then up tilt out of your dash? What if you just full hop more often in neutral? That might counter it, right?
How many frames of lag does Ultimate have again? 6?
Fucking 6, I think, instead of
6.
Yeah, I think so. Essentially, Ultimate, your reasonable reaction time is probably around 18 frames.
That's a question I have, which is we talk about how maybe if you're looking for one thing, you might be able to react 14 or 15 frames.
Yeah.
What is a reasonable reaction time for just neutral is happening and they could do a couple things?
I still think as long as you are primed for those things, I still think it's going to be close to 15 frames. It might be 1 or 2 frames slower at worst.
Really?
So I have this wacky theory about reaction time that I don't know if it's true or not, but my theory involves the fact that all reaction time tests have not been done on people who have been grinding the same thing for 20 years. And I personally feel that when I play Melee, if I just have to react to 2 different things, oftentimes in practice, they're not actually the same leniency, right? It's not like punishing one thing has the exact same leniency as punishing the other.
Yeah, I'm thinking of tech chasing here.
Right. So when people do multiple choice reaction time tests, they're like, oh, you reacted in 200 milliseconds here, but 250 here. Wow, it's so different. And it's yeah, that's literally only 2 frames different. So what you do is just even though it's a multiple choice thing, it's you prime yourself properly based on what your split of reactions is, if that makes sense.
Which is to say, with
you don't need to react as quickly to punish one thing as another.
Yeah, you prime yourself for tech in place, and then if they don't do okay, I guess you're over here.
Yeah, so that's the easy thing, right? But then, like, or easy example. But then when you're playing neutral, do you have that internalized concept for all the neutral game scenarios?
Not
right,
really.
most people don't. But I feel like I have a very intuitive sense for what I'm looking for, and I never feel like I have to like slow my reactions down or like take into account like, oh man, that was 15 frames. I can't react to that in neutral. It's like, no, I can see everything and react to it. Also because I have such high familiarity with Melee and I know exactly what can happen. And also my fingers, like even when you do like a clicker test, your fingers don't have the muscle memory to click on reaction.
Yeah.
I have fucking 15 years of reacting with dash JC up smash to this specific thing. Do you not think my hands are better at doing that than clicking on fucking human benchmark or something?
Right.
Right? And like no reaction time tests are ever done with someone who has that much muscle memory.
Mm-hmm.
Does that make sense?
That does make sense.
Well, like you fucking look at Counter-Strike players, it's like they're trained to click on reaction. So it's no wonder that they're good at those tests.
Right.
Like I remember watching like one CS player, he has a YouTube video where he does like a reaction time test and his is like insane. But like I doubt his reactions are like
how insane?
Say what?
How insane?
I forget, but it was something much faster than what I get on human benchmark. But then people play me in Melee and they go, wow, your reaction time's broken. And it's like, well, no, I just don't have 15 years of training my muscle memory and focus and discipline.
In this specific thing, yeah.
Yes, in this specific thing. But again, to go back to the air-to-air thing, I think the answer is figure out exactly what you can and can't punish, figure out if you have to read it. And let's say you can't punish it, you can at least confirm that he jumped and then play a mix-up afterward. Because if you just stop wasting your time trying to punish it and see, oh, he short-hopped, I know I can't punish this, so I'm going to guess what he's going to do next, then you're already doing way better. Right? Because if you know he's going to down B stall and then hit him, you just don't whiff because he stalls, you wait and then hit him out of his, next thing. Yeah.
God.
Yeah. But that's just like how to improve at all games. It's just like you have to make the connection and the realization of what can I and can I not do.
Right. I mean, I intuitively suspect that because of the lag and all that, there's probably just a lot more RPS that has to happen.
Yep, and that's why if you watch high-level Ultimate, it oftentimes just looks like two people jumping at each other.
Yeah.
Because they can't react to anything. So it's like, well, I think you're going to short hop, so I'm going to short hop Nair. Like with Mewtwo, I short hop Nair at people when I think they're going to short hop.
Right. So you either play fewer situations that require tight reactions. Like if you are at all unsure, you probably just err on the side of caution, or you go for an educated RPS.
Yes, and that's literally, I mean, that's just how you play fighting games in general. But it's how do you identify all the situations? Do you know the reactions? Do you know the matchup? Do you know the risk reward? Is it worth going for an educated RPS? Oftentimes the answer is no. Oftentimes the answer is yes, you can't do anything about it, So
Okay, yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. All right, super duper helpful. You don't have another lesson after this, do you? Because we went way over.
No, I don't have another lesson, which is why I was down to keep talking.
That's what
I'm almost always down. Like this used to happen way more when I had less lessons, but I was always down to keep talking if I didn't have more lessons. But,
right. Got it.
I mean, I enjoy talking. I'm glad we get to talk about this stuff.
Yeah, I have a bunch of stuff that I wrote down that I'm gonna try to internalize. If nothing else, I will. I'm gonna try to do some, safe state assisted practicing today, just to kind of get in the habit. And also, I don't know, might I don't know, later in the week or something, might review one of our older lessons and see if there's something I can't figure.
I think it would definitely be helpful because now you'll probably have a good idea of how to practice it.
Totally.
Cool. All
right, man.
Good luck. Practice hard, and I will send out scheduling for next month soon, so we'll talk soon.
Okay. Thank you so much. Have a good rest of the month.
Yeah, you too, dude. See ya.
All right. Bye-bye.